Welcome to another episode of At the Bar Podcast. As Jeff interrupts my intro, but I'm going to go with it because whatever. Anyway.
Because why not?
Yeah, right. Once again, I'm your host, Mike, and joining me are the usual suspects on one screen that we are all seeing. But we have Hollywood himself.
That's me.
Happy birthday, Jeff. It's a little belated, but
but you were there. You were there for the birthday.
I'm trying to. We record a birthday episode for you, like we did me. So I'm trying to give you some of the spotlight.
Well, dude, okay, I don't need any more of the spotlight. I was so blacked out that night that I think I lost all light. Like light went away. No spotlight, no light at all. Black out completely.
So you did it correctly.
Yeah, yeah, we got you all messed up.
There's a video. Oh, Mike, you got to have the video of me do when you guys all want to do the shotgun. I had 2 eye patches on. One on each eye.
That's that girlfriend of yours, because I didn't have anything.
One on each eye, and then everybody tried to hit me with water balloons, and they wouldn't pop because I'm made of like fucking fat and blubber.
Cassie has those videos, and we were chugging Tangier.
Was that what we were chugging? Oh my god! It's bad when you can't remember like what you shotgunned, and I only shotgunned 1 beer that night, but everybody wanted to CCC with me. Like it was so many.
What, Jeff? What's CCC?
CCC is the Cider Chug Club. It's that's trademarked, by the way. For all you people trying to steal it, it's not trademarked. I'm totally kidding. But
how many cease and desists do you have out right now?
I don't have any. None. All we did was redneck patent it. We just sent ourselves an email. CCC.
Yep, that's the way to do it.
The CCC, man.
Guy on the microphone.
What a good club.
Let me introduce Chris. God.
Sorry.
But it's all about, we need some spotlight here, man.
And then you can. Okay. All right. Fine. All right. That's Chris, everybody. Jeff, continue your story.
No, what? No. Hey, Chris.
Hi.
Okay. And the other guy on the mic is Foxy Chris. Chris, what's up?
How's it going?
Jeff.
That's all I got.
All right. You got your spotlight back.
You want me to have a
Cider Chug Club?
Cider Chug Club.
CCC.
So it's all about the journey, you know? It's not about chugging the cider as fast as possible. It's about just drinking a beer with your friends. It all started out of some kind of weird convoluted way to get a better discount on beers. But it turned into a real adventure where we chugged a lot of ciders. I actually won a contest with World of Beer for being the loyalty member out of the 100-something thousand who drank the most ciders in 1 month from doing the CCC.
I love ciders.
but everybody on my birthday decided it was time to CCC with me, and I think I ended up chugging like 4 or 5 ciders that night, and it was pretty rough.
Yeah, it was like every 20 minutes.
I'm really sorry I missed that. That sounds
and
awesome.
they sneak up on you, man. They really do.
Yeah, yeah.
One every 20 minutes, that'll definitely do it, man.
Like
yeah, you would think that's not so sneaky. That's right in your face.
That's how are you surprised by this?
They all kept ordering ciders. It was like the craziest thing ever. I'm like, 4 more ciders, please.
Yeah, it was a good night though. I had a lot of fun. Good birthday, like great birthday weekend. One of the best I've ever had in my life. So it was a good time. I was glad I got to see everybody again over at WOB.
Cool. So Chris, you got a beer by you?
I do, man.
What you drinking, buddy?
So the reason I couldn't actually show up to the birthday podcast was we were having dinner with some friends from out of town, and he brought me an espresso stout, Jack's Java from 3 Notched, which is out of Charlottesville, Virginia.
Ooh.
5.5%, 30 IBUs. It's pretty solid, man. Not too much on the roasty. Pretty mellow in the coffee, a little sweeter. Easy to kill a bomber of it because it's going down probably faster than it should. So.
Oh wow!
That sounds really good.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't suck.
It doesn't suck.
Jeff,
that's the new catchphrase.
It's actually on the button. No, I'm just kidding.
The chances. Jeff, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking a beer. When I was up in Orlando, some fucking douchebag named Dumpster Mike gave me this beer. And it's a favorite of mine now. I've had one of them. This is my last one here. And it is Erlene, and I believe it's an IPA, citrus IPA. It's the Carl, right?
It's Carl's cousin, so it's Red Cypress New England IPA, but they just use a different hop.
Okay, And the Carl was the original, and they changed the hop on this one.
I believe so.
Okay, it's got great flavor, and it's a pretty good, real hop forward beer, and it's Red Cypress. I love Red Cypress, so definitely a good beer. And it wasn't a douchebag. It was Mike, and Mike's awesome. So thanks, Mike.
You're welcome. So what I'm drinking is from one of my favorite breweries. I know listener John commented that he would like to see more of us drinking local stuff, so I decided to follow up on him. And last week or the other day, I was beer shopping, and I stumbled across Funky Buddha's Nib Smuggler. So it's right here in my glass. It's smuggling season.
Wow.
So I got a Funky Buddha Nib Smuggler that I will be enjoying for the show. So
and no sediment this time, right? Last time you had sediment in yours.
Nice. Yeah, no sediment. Or else I'd mail it to you.
I loved it. I love that sediment one.
Oh. But and it's nice chocolate, milky, lactose. It's the chocolate's a bit richer than beers like Bell Cow by J-Dubs, but it's very good, almost like a dark chocolate. I'm digging it.
Yeah,
definitely go out and get Reds and Funky Buddha, and I forgot
J-Dubs Bell Cow. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah, they've been killing it, man. Every place that I've seen that's had it recently has been actually out of stock on it.
Yeah. So that leads to tonight's topic. I went
Segue.
Hello.
I spent the day with Preston from the Beer Chasers, his wife, and Adam C, who actually listens to both shows, is a big fan.
Hey, Adam.
So what's up, everybody? We went to Sarasota with J-Dubs, did a episode of the Beer Chasers there. And then after that, we went to Motorworks up the street in Bradenton. And then at night, we kind of capped it off at Madeira Beach in Madeira Beach. And each brewery had its own unique story. So I kind of want to start with the J-Dubs one. Pretty much, early on I had a habit of judging a brewery by the beers that I can get in distro. And over a year ago, when I went to Three Daughters with Preston and a couple other friends, I kind of realized that I was being a D-bag and kind of jumping the gun a little bit. So we went to J-Dubs, and they had the usual suspects on tap: the Kolsch, Bell Cow on Nitro. They're big up top IPA, the basic stuff. Yeah. But they also had like a Munich Dunkel. They had a oyster stout with sage. They had a bunch of like a pepper beer, all these other beers on tap, and they were all freaking great. So J-Dubs to me was always kind of like an average brewery. Like they were there, their passion fruit wheat is good, but nothing really stuck out. But I have a whole new appreciation for breweries. Same thing with Motorworks too, of going to a brewery, having the stuff that they don't sell on distro, and then like having my opinion changed. So I kind of want to, as a discussion, kind of go around the table and see what you guys, any breweries that you guys have been to, or any experiences that you might have jumped the gun, judged a little early, and then had your mind change once you went there or got there. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you first, because you mentioned a couple styles and some things they had on, and obviously an oyster stout is kind of I don't even know where that originated. I'm assuming America, because let's be honest, the Europeans probably wouldn't be that fucking nuts. But do you think that the breweries, when they surprise you like that, do you think it's because they choose a region or a style or something to run with? For instance, like Motorworks does a lot of German style beers. We've talked about Rap before. They're very German inspired. You have places like Omegang and Weyerbacher, who are Belgian influenced. And, some of the people that surprise me are because they stay into their lane and they kind of do one thing extremely well. Do you think that is something you maybe experienced at those breweries that surprised you?
With Rap, I would agree with that. Because I didn't realize Rap was a German brewery till I actually went there. And some of my favorite beers from them are not German.
Mm-hmm.
They're I don't know if Goza is a German beer, but whatever. And they're chocolate peanut butter. Is it German?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it originated in Germany. Yeah.
Gozas are definitely German.
Yeah,
I believe.
Okay. So I take that back. Anyway, but I mean it makes everything kind of. I mean, I don't know how to answer that. It it changes things in terms of breweries. I think are either they're diverse or they're really hardcore in the hole with whatever style. So like with rap, they're super German. With civil society, they're super IPA like trendy.
Mm-hmm.
But with J Dubs, I think with them we were talking to them. They brew what they want to brew, and there's a couple styles that were there, like the oyster style with sage, like the New England Dunkel, that don't necessarily are hot items in terms of beers that I order, but they're like eye catchers, and they caught my eye. And I ordered my flight. I had both of them, and they were fantastic. But it makes me appreciate the brewery more when they take risks like that in terms of brewing stuff that isn't necessarily going to sell or kind of foreign or not trendy. So to me, I think it works out in J Dubs and Motorworks' case of Motorworks didn't really have anything German. They had a triple IPA on.
Really?
Yeah.
Motorworks, I know they used to do a lot with Kolsch's and like the lighter German styles, the Pilsners and the Kolsch's and things like that. But I remember at one point they had they had 4 or 5 different treatments of their Kolsch, and I believe their Kolsch is a medal winner. Not at GABF.
J Dubs, their Kolsch is a gold in some beer backyard or craft beer America, whatever it was.
I could see Kolsch's being a huge thing. I know we've talked about that before, but I know Motorworks has one that's pretty phenomenal. And I've had it with cucumber. I've had it with a few different treatments. They've done a few different styles on that same beer, and I was impressed with their German, the way they do it. And I've actually spoken with one of the brewers there, and he says he does a lot of German inspired things, but a triple IPA obviously is about the furthest thing away from German. So
yeah.
and
and with Motorworks too, I think they're one of the only local breweries that I think is doing like a Crystal Weiss on the regular too. So they're doing that.
Now that's awesome.
Yeah. Because I know that there's some back and forth between them and some distributors throughout the state where the distributors were hoping to kind of see that come out, because if you look at the landscape, there's a couple Kolsch's out there. There's a couple IPAs, a couple Hefties, things like that. But they were really hoping to see something kind of, that not a lot of other breweries were doing. So
I wish they made more. I wish more breweries made more Kolsch's and treatments, because that I love that style, that German, crushable style.
But with full flavor and body. It's like crushable because it's super crisp, but it has the flavor of an ale. And it has like the body of a light ale beer. Well, you know what I mean? Like, how like some of those lager styles can be so light that it's like you're just drinking air a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love the Kolsch body and the crispness of like a light lager mixed with like a little heavier body and a little bit more flavor.
Well, it's cool with those too. If you want to get really nerdy on it, it's one of like the very few styles that's actually almost a hybrid between a lager and an ale anyway.
Just I actually tell people that.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of those out there. And then whenever once you kind of respect that and kind of appreciate it, you can kind of dissect a little bit of that mellowy kind of like lager technique and that estery kind of ale characteristic too. And it's kind of cool, man.
A Kolsch is technically, it's a lager brewed at ale temperatures. Or close to ale temperatures.
Something like that,
yeah. So you're looking at lager at a lager yeast at slightly higher temperatures, I believe.
Yeah.
So like low 60s.
So so it gives you just
will be like, you're wrong.
And honestly, you can do it the
fact checkers are out tonight.
Or it's the opposite, where it's like an ale yeast at lager temperatures or something like that. But I've always liked those from local breweries. And honestly, anytime I go to a new brewery and they've got something like that on the menu, that's part of the flight for sure. Because it's like the cheese pizza theory. Like if you go to a new pizzeria and you try the cheese pizza and it's messed up, then you can probably count on everything else being messed up too.
Right.
100%. I agree with that.
Just for fact checking, I fact checked. Goza is German. In case people were wondering, I actually looked it up.
Thank you. Okay, cool. All right. So with so what breweries have you guys been to that you might have not going there really changed your opinion? I would say let's do for the better.
Okay.
You went there they're like, no, so Mike's Brewery's kind of all right. You go to the tap, you're like, holy shit, this place was made for me.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Jeff, we'll let you go first
Okay.
because I know you got something in mind.
Let's see. The ones that like really blew me away. We a few of them we've done on the show already. The one big one that stands out to me instantly is Due South, a brewery that is in massive distribution. You know, a handful of their core beers. Everybody's heard of Caramel Cream Ale, but when you go there, it's a completely different experience than you'd expect. They have all these. It's just so down to earth. It's like a warehouse feel. You're in the brewery when you're drinking. Like they just rope it off and put tables up, and like it's very casual. The beers on tap were surprisingly different and cooler than what you would expect from a massive distribution standpoint of a brewery that's on that level. And Due South, all their mainstream, all their distro beers, I would say are, solid 3.5s to 4s. They all hit style perfectly, and they're all, better than average offerings at what that style is. But like when you really get into what they do well and you get those one-offs and you get the one-eyed tikis and the Mariana Trenches and the things like that, they have treatments of every one of their beers, and they just have an ability to do something really cool there. And I love that it was outside the box, totally different than what you think, like when you walk in and you're walking into like a granite factory with like the countertops next door stacked up, and you're like, what the fuck is this place? Yeah. And then like you walk into some like creepy sketch back door, and all of a sudden you're in a warehouse brewery that's like gigantic, and there's all kinds of cool stuff going on. So I would say Due South's a great one, a good example of underselling and overperforming and just giving you an experience when you go to the brewery, And like just the little things, I think the tiniest touches help, but naming all of their tanks after space shuttles. That's because cool. Like, in Florida with this history in space with Kennedy Space Center and everything, which granted they're not on the Space Coast, but like it was a cool little thing to tie in. All their tanks had a shuttle name after an actual, live space shuttle launch. And it was just very little cool things like that, but it ties your tour together and it gives you something to think about. And I love Due South a lot. Another good one would be Saltwater in Delray Beach. They're just kind of the opposite of Due South as far as size and like being like a little bit awestruck when you walk in, because Saltwater's a smaller place, but they have just a really cool homey tap room, a little sitting area with couches and stuff. There's art all over the walls and everything's for sale. A cool outside courtyard, but their beers on tap were better than what you see, at your average brewery. And they definitely, once again, they undersell and overperform. And I like breweries that give you that experience and they give you a good beer in your hand too. Yep. Mm-hmm. Those were the two that stood out when you asked the question though, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Chris, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I got a couple of them, man. Like traveling throughout the state and stuff, I've been fortunate to bump into a few of them. J-Dubs, I'll kind of kick it back to what you were talking about earlier. They're definitely one of the same ones to where, kind of getting that brewery experience outside of what you just see in distribution is key sometimes to really kind of understand what a brewery is doing behind the curtains. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So with them, I mean, like you're used to seeing their Kolsch out and their Up Top IPA and stuff, which are all really good beers. But something that maybe you try one, you move on to the next thing, kind of thing. Nothing negative about it. But when I went down there, they had the same kind of Munich. I think it's the Drunk Onkel, which is the Munich Dunkel they have.
Something like that. Yeah.
What a great name.
Yeah. Right. Where it was one of those ones where when I got the flight down there, I saw that one. I mean, how many breweries are doing that style? So you check it out, see how well they're pulling it off. I think I had a Scotch ale. There was like a sour apricot ale that I did too. Ooh. They're souring like that they were doing. I'm not sure how they're doing it, but everything was super clean, super tasty. And it's one of those things where like you wouldn't really know they were doing that outside of their cores. You don't see a lot of one-offs from them in distribution. So when you kind of see what they're doing to play around at the brewery and just kind of have fun, it's always cool to see that.
Yeah.
With another one, I've always kind of had like a near and dear spot in my heart for Pinglehead's Imperial Red. I don't know if either of you guys have ever tried that one.
Such a great beer.
So good.
So freaking good. I love Imperial Reds, and that was the original one that I fell in love with.
Dude, I'm in the exact same boat, man. It's one of my favorite styles. But there was one where, so that's another one where it's like, I think it's called Brewer's Pizza is the name of the actual place that they're brewing out of. little pizza shop. Kind of, you got to go out of your way to look for it. You probably wouldn't even put two and two together that they were there unless you actually Googled it. But they just have a really cool lackadaisical approach to the brewing. I mean, it's one of those, yes, they take it seriously, and all the beers were awesome, spot on. But also at the same time, I think I was talking to the head brewer there, and one of the beers he handed to me, he's like, tried it. He wasn't a fan of it, but he was like, hey, it's our new brewer's first beer. We liked it. He's not happy with it. We're going to sell it anyway. Pisses him off, kind of thing.
Right.
Cask and Larder, I'm a huge fan of them. I think I have a giant bias towards them, though, just because the entire like food option that they have going on, and it's just a cool spot to kill a few hours.
Sure.
And then we already touched on them too, but Civil Society. I hadn't really had anything from them before I went to the tap room. But that was, I think it's because of the circumstances. We all went there after like this big beer festival thing, really cool group of brewers and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, the beers were insane. You know, the people were raving about it at the tap room. They knocked everything out of the park. The service was great. It was like 3 or 4 deep at the bar the entire night. Wow. So they're doing something right down there too, man. So
I'm literally, that's 7 minutes away from me right now.
I kind of hate your face right now.
But I haven't been yet. Yet.
Dude, you got to go check it
out.
I know. You've had the beers though, right?
I've had their beers. Yeah. I've had them at festivals, and they're in, somebody had either a growler of one or something I tried. I've had 3 different IPAs from them. My cousin who happened to also be my realtor, and I went, and when we were doing our closing, I went to his apartment. He lives in Abacoa.
Mm-hmm.
When I say he lives next door to Civil Society is on the corner.
Mm-hmm.
There's that little street. There's a hair salon on the other side, like catty cornered.
Yeah.
Literally on the same side of the road. My cousin's apartment shares a wall with that hair salon.
Holy cool.
He's about 25 feet from Civil Society.
It's in a really weird spot. It's like one of those kind of like community areas where all the businesses are on the first level, and then you've got like apartments, maybe like 3 or 4 stories above, all the way up.
Yeah. Well, and then if you go just past where the first level, like that next building where the hair salon is, that's an apartment building. And the apartments are all on the ground floor too. So like he has a patio, he has a back patio that opens up to the sidewalk. And if you turn left and walk 10 feet, you're in front of Civil Society.
That would be a dangerous place to live if that were me.
Have a rough time. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So my answer is, you know, the story is just about my experience with Jay does, but for a brewery to be in distro and me going to the tap room and really being blown away by it, I would agree with Jeff and say due south, but I am a huge fan of due south. So when I went to the tap room for the show, I wasn't surprised by not only what they had, but the quality of it, because it's like their distro beers, I think I agree, are 3.5 to 4s. Like they are like easily like the best top 3 readily available beers for Florida. Like they're category 3 and 5 IPAs. Or like one of the best IPAs that you can get in Florida, and they're available year round. Like their flagship beer is a caramel cream, and no one's done that. So, just a comment on that. I mean, due south, yeah, but I also wasn't surprised. But for me, and this is going back like 3 years, is the first time I had Funky Buddha when it hit Orlando. I went to WAB UCF and had the Floridian, and I was like, oh my God, this is so good. I had everything they had. But when I went to the tap room in Oakland Park for the first time, it was like, you know, our show was like bourbon barrel aged all this like great beer. And I was just like, whoa, like this brewery is like made for me. Like everything they had on tap at the brewery was like phenomenal. So that to me is probably the answer that sticks out the most in terms of breweries and distribution that, you know, like I was like, man, you know, these are good, but I'm not blown away. And then having my socks rocked off when I got to the tap room.
So, yeah, and the thing is, so I actually wanted to say Funky Buddha too, but I went to Maple Bacon Coffee Porter last year prior to ever being in that tap room, and then I went to the tap room the next day. So, like, I was fully prepared for how awesome it was going to be because I just spent an entire day before at their beer event. Mm-hmm. So, like, I just drank Topple and Goliath, and I just drank Ardwolf's White Russian Imperial Stout, and I just drank 2013 Hunapoo and like all this stuff at their event in their backyard at that little park. So like the next day that, I went into the tap room and I was like expecting all that. And they had all the leftover beer. So they had all these freaking 10s on freaking tap.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, I was already expecting it. So it didn't blow me away as much, but I do completely agree with you, Mike. If you're going to go to a brewery that just wants to blow you away from the second you walk in the door, especially on quality of product, Funky Buddha, you can't go there and not find a beer that you aren't, not that you like, that you're not in love with. Like all their beers
Absolutely.
Everybody will have a beer there. Anybody, people who don't even like beer, you'll have a beer there that is your favorite beer.
Literally, as a testament to that. So we were going down, like the fiance and I were going down to Miami for a weekend, and I meant to stop at the Oakland Brewery because they had just opened like a month before that. But we ended up at the original location, like the little hookah lounge kind of area.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's in Delray, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was a cool spot for sure. I was kind of bummed because it wasn't this giant 30-barrel system I was hoping to see, but
They pilot batch there.
what's that?
Pilot batch there still.
Yeah, man. So the fiance, if you don't know, she hates beer. She can't try anything that she's actually enjoyed ever. But she appeased me and was willing to sit there for 30 minutes while I, geeked out. And so I think it was a passion fruit Berliner Weiss. I tried it and I was like, if you're gonna like any beer, try this. And she tried it and she actually ordered a pint of it. It's the first time and last time since then I've ever seen her order a beer. So it's a testament to the fact that you will find one. That's a really good one. So.
That's right.
Oh, man, they have, and they push the envelope. Like we've talked about their lychee Berliner Weiss before.
Mm.
Like it doesn't even taste like beer. Everybody knows damn well how much I hate Berliner Weisses, and like it was a phenomenal beer. Like it's probably in my top 10 of their beers, which is a testament even to make it there because they have so many beers that have made my top 10 list of their own beers. But it's a phenomenal beer, and it was literally like a lychee fruit Berliner Weiss, and it was just like anybody can find something there that they love. They have fucking sweet potato casserole, blueberry cobbler, Reese peanut butter cup, fucking everything, like
double IPAs, Hefeweizens. I mean, they run the gamut.
the traditional styles, the American styles, and then the culinary inspired specialty ales, I would call them, because like maple bacon coffee porter is basically a specialty beer at this point, but we'll call it a porter, but yeah, they always have something that's going to blow you away.
Yeah. So after J-Dubs, we went to Motorworks in Bradenton, which is they have the biggest beer garden in the state of Florida, and it is huge, just like the Kia commercials. It's huge, but we got there and I walked inside. And I was like, oh my god! And I walked outside. I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. So I texted Jeff. I'm like, I need you to remember this when I open a brewery, just like Motorworks.
He literally texted me that.
Yeah, and I sent him 3 pictures. And I was like,
it looks sick.
It's clean. So tap rooms are very underestimated, and Motorworks made me appreciate it. And that's gonna be my question for all of us is tap rooms that really blew you away. But before we get into that, I want to say 2 beers I've had that stuck out to me out of all of them. Okay, the first one, they did a peach Berliner Weiss, which I was expecting to turn out. I was like, wow, they're just trying sours, whatever. It was tits. All the tits. It was great.
It was like big tits.
Big old, Pamela Anderson.
Like in a slow-mo Baywatch scene, yeah.
So we're talking big old fake tits, or are we talking fatty natties?
Oh, dude, no, fatty natties. So it was just peach, and the way it blended with the sour, it was just like, oh man, it was so good. But they had this beer, and I thought of Jeff, and I was like, I know Jeff's working, I don't want to bother him, but they had a lavender ale that was brewed with lavender, and it was so potent that it smelled like perfume, both on the aroma. And when you tasted it, there was so much lavender in it. It was almost minty. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm having a weird beer. I'm cool as motherfucker.
How was it?
So it was great. I gave it I actually didn't rate it on tap because I was drunk as shit. But I'd give it a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. Lavender, it's one of those, it's like chocolate lobster. Like you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it because there's so much lavender in there. That's like Febreze.
Dude, there was a tasting or a tap room that opened up from where I was living up north, and they did one. I think it was called Gypsy Rose. It was like rose petals, chamomile, and lavender, and like a Belgian wit style beer. And it really was one of those love it or hate it in the sense where like I thought it was awesome, but I gave it to a friend of mine. He said it tasted like grandma's bathwater. So yeah, so it's those can be really really polarizing for sure. But you know, as long as it turned out well, man.
I mean, I think it turned out well. I'm gonna give it.
And it was good.
It was really good.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, dude, I loved it. But it's one of those beers. Like I say, it's either gonna love it or you're gonna hate it. And it was very, very lavender.
I feel like it's like those coconut blonde ales or something. You know, like you either love them or you think they taste like sunscreen.
Yeah, yeah. Like it overpowered the flight that I had. And I had a stout, a sour, a porter, I think another stout, and then something else. But like you could
I would have loved that.
I probably would have loved it. Gloomy, aromatic. I mean, it's one of those beers that you can have like one pint and be like, all right, I'm fucking going back to the peach Berliner.
Yeah, there you go. Where'd you go, man?
But you know, back to the question is, what in your experiences, you know, tap rooms that have really kind of stuck out in terms of just not necessarily. I mean, I guess ambiance matters too, but like just the vibe. Like you walked in not expecting it, you're kind of blown away. It kind of like, you know, made a jam in your head a little bit.
So I feel like we're all going to attack this from different angles, just kind of based off of where we come from and what we kind of grade as success and failures in the industry and stuff.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, man. I think one of my favorite things about some of the tap rooms that I've been into that have really blown me away has been just kind of seeing what their day-to-day operation is. Like, what is it that, you know, it's easy to try the one beer that they're hyped up and known about, or maybe two or three of their core brands, and then just kind of build an opinion on that alone. But outside of the branding, outside of the liquid, like, you know, what are their techniques? What are they doing? You know, who's making it? Did they do it for the right reasons? Are they cool people? You know, really, really breaking that bridge from, oh, you just buy it on a public shelf because it looks cool, as opposed to, hey, I got to know the guy that made it and I found out the story behind it. And, you know, they tweaked it 4 or 5 different times from this, and this because of these reasons. And that wasn't, you know what I mean? Like those kind of backstories that not a lot of people learn about.
Sure.
And I don't know if you guys kind of get that same thing, but, you know, the one thing I found out that I've seen with a lot of beer drinkers in Florida, at least, is they're not really getting into it, or they, for a while, because of the amount of breweries that we had, they weren't really getting into it because, you know, there was a lot of breweries around them. It was, you know, they started seeing craft beer from other areas on the shelves. So they're used to kind of just trying the beer. They like the brand. It's not really about the brewery itself. They like the brand more than anything, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so really kind of giving a personality and kind of seeing who's behind the brand and where it came from and why. I think that's kind of what's really helped a lot of the tap room stand out to me the most. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. Jeff, where do you want me to go?
No, I'll go. The ones the ones that stand out to me, I look at it as a consumer standpoint and a hospitality standpoint, which is infuriating because when you like get into what I do for a living, you can't like go to restaurants without noticing all the little bullshit that pisses you off about your own restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you go and you see, like, you sit down at a restaurant and there's like a direct TV channel that's just like the direct TV thing bouncing from corner to corner on the screen,
or a soap opera.
It infuriates me. I'm like somebody put something on that fucking TV right now or I'm gonna flip out. But so for me, that's like my lens when I go into a brewery. So the ones that really blew me away, about being about atmosphere and being about the experience. Two Henrys, we've talked about them a handful of times, but they're a great venue space. They're Key and Curly wine as well. And so they have a winery grounds. They own a lot of land out there in Plant City, and you can take tours of the winery. People do wedding photo shoots out there. They actually do weddings and wedding receptions in the venue space as well. And it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous brewery tap room. A lot of like all wood and the wooden deck, and there's an outside bar and a stage and everything. It's just, it's a great entertainment hall, venue for weddings, venue for parties. And just a really beautiful, the grounds are beautiful. It kind of takes you out of Florida for a minute and puts you in Napa Valley or something. Despite, I mean, it's not obviously Napa Valley. You don't have the mountains and you don't have all the hills and all the, but it just kind of takes you out of Florida for a minute and puts you into a really cool experience. So I do love it there a lot. Other ones that have kind of blown me away or surprised me with, really just doing an exquisite job. I would say Angry Chair over in Tampa. They have a very sick tap room. It's tiny. It's real small, but their beers always on point. Their treatments of their beers are creative and well executed. They have a lot of like really cool, almost creepy, abstract like death and skeleton murals all over the walls and stuff.
Yeah.
Their bar stools look like angry chairs. Like, I don't know how else to describe it, but it looks like a chair that's pretty mad at you. Like, I don't know, but it's a very cool, really awesome tap room. They put it in the little details there, that made it like a really awesome experience over there. Cage, in St. Pete.
Really?
Yeah, man, I like them. They were cool. I bumped into them a while ago.
I was not expecting that.
I thought that was a really sick tap room. They had arcade games. They had little funny signs. What was the sign in the bathroom wall, Mike?
Oh my God.
Something
it's
about
like
piss
odd,
all over the place or
abstract.
something.
Yeah.
But they just had like funny signs, and they had like cool video games, and they had a literal like a cage, kind of like the way, I don't know how to describe it, but a really cool outside. And it was just it was a really neat place for St. Pete. Like, you didn't expect that brewery there. So I thought that was a really cool one that surprised me, and their beer quality was good. We had some really great beers there as well.
Sorry, Preston.
And really, ultimately, I think that, the beer quality is what's important. But I think that the experience is really good as well,
Yeah, I'm kind of the opposite of Jeff. When you talked to me about a brewery, the tap room or the way the tap room looks is probably the last thing I'll ever mention, because
Really,
it's weird. I can care less about what it looks like, but if it's either done really bad or really right, then it'll stick out to me. If that makes sense.
No, for sure. Yeah.
So like when I go to a brewery, I'm never going by myself. So I'm always going with at least one other person. So to me, the atmosphere kind of takes a back seat, because I'm focused on the beer that I'm drinking and then the person I'm talking to. Unless it's really great to where I'm like, oh my God, this is like blown, or like, so I'm like really passive about it. But tap rooms that really kind of took me back Funky Blue is really good, but Three Daughters to me really sticks out, because it's just a huge warehouse. You have the whole inside that's really nice, the nice wood and the aluminum. Then you go out in the warehouse where they brew the beer, and there's like a huge stage with human size Connect 4 and skee ball, or whatever the hell that fucking game that Celery City has.
Yeah.
And a bunch of different games, Twister, tic-tac-toe, all this stuff. It's very kid-friendly. So to me, Three Daughters really is like, taproom kind of was like, I was like, dude, this is really nice. Another one would be Green Room in Jacksonville.
Yeah, dude. Actually, I really liked what they were doing, man.
And it's their tap room, like, not to be mean, but isn't anything like extravagant.
No,
but I totally get a beach vibe, hardcore, because they were across the street from Jacksonville Beach. But for some reason, when I walk in there, I feel like I'm on vacation. Like, the beach setting is just like sinks in. Everyone's like, "Yeah, bro, surf's up, bring your dog," kind of deal.
Yeah,
but
mahalo, man.
Mahalo, bro. But for some reason, like, going to Green Room's tap room, I was like, it just like it clicked. And then probably another one would be, for some reason, I was a huge fan of was obviously Motorworks was a surprise for me, but another one would be, oh man, they're escaping me right now. Yingling, not really craft. Well, technically craft, but the Yingling plant in Tampa, I really like their tap room. Just because
it's a cool one, man. I like
it. It's dated. It's old.
Dude,
You're
it's like walking into like a Mad Men episode. It's awesome. Yeah.
But
I've never been to it, but that sounds awesome. Like something that takes you back in time. I would love that.
Oh yeah.
It feels like you're like a 1992 soccer banquet.
Oh yeah. It's awesome.
Like that's how old it is, or it looks old. But
So
those tap rooms are cool.
apparently I'm a dum-dum and forgot to mention the tap rooms I actually enjoyed or took me back.
Oh.
I just talked about why. Coppertail. I
Never
don't
been.
know if you guys have ever been down there, but
I want
like
to go, but I've never been.
it's
I
so
have a friend who works for
aesthetically-
Coppertail, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jim Reedy. I think he works for Coppertail. I'm pretty sure.
What's up, Jim?
You might know
So-
him. You're in the industry.
Shout
You
out
know
to Jim.
Jim?
Right? I don't know Jim.
Okay.
J Dubs knows Chris though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's not weird. Is that good or bad?
good. They smiled when
You're
I was
famous,
like, "Oh
bro.
yeah, he works for so and so." He's like, "Oh yeah, I think I met him at the food and wine at the Swan and Dolphin at Disney."
Tell him, hey, what's up, man?
JB or JDB or
Yeah, bigger guy.
J Dub. Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, he was
Oh,
a
he was
super
like,
cool guy,
You
man.
know him? I was like, yeah, he's like one of my co-hosts. He's like, no shit.
Good.
But continue.
And he's a new fan of the show, hopefully.
I see the like pop up already. No, but yeah, Coppertail just like their branding's super cool to me anyway. It's like it's weird, it's dark, it's macabre, it's fun, man. And their whole
That's good
tap room
artwork.
is the same way. If you guys ever get up to Jacksonville, Ardwolf, like I fucking love that tap room, man. It's in like an old ice plant. It's just got this cool rustic like vibe to it. All the beers are top notch, and they're all just super cool people. Recently stopped into super new one. I think they're like 9 months old, maybe, question mark, out of St. Augustine. It's Bog Brewing. So
I've heard of them.
yeah, they. I mean,
I was gonna go there, and I went to the ice plant, which is funny because you just said ice plant about Hardwolf.
mhm.
I went to the ice plant in St. Augustine distillery when I was there for my birthday, instead of going to Bog Brewing, which I heard is amazing.
Yeah, dude, the beers are top notch, man, and like it's just a cool little spot to hang out, especially if you get in there when it's not too busy, and you just kind of like shoot shit with the bartender or the brewer or whatever. Cool little spot there, and then honorable mention if you're ever down in what is it? I forget what the Seminole Heights down in Tampa. You got Southern Wine and Brewery.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Southern Wine and Brewery, yeah.
Southern Wine.
Dude, they it's a little homebrew shop or whatever. I think Chris Johnson from Greenbench actually started the brewing system down there or whatever. But he's obviously since moved on. But they've got like I don't know 8 to 12 of their own beers on draft at all times. All of them are solid. It's just a cool little in-house thing. They do their own kombucha, a couple guest taps and stuff. So it's one of those things you wouldn't actually go out of your way, but every time I've been in there, man, have a couple pints, all the beers are solid. Really, really cool people behind the bar too. So
2 points to add to that. J Dubs had their own kombucha yesterday, and then Ryan Parker of Red Cypress, his brother, works there.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
Jeff, you know
that's
that.
super cool.
that's cool, man.
You didn't know that? He told you.
I'm sure I did.
mentioned-
I'm sure I did know that, but I'll be honest with you. There's so much beer knowledge of things that people have told me over the years, and you guys see how hard it is for me to remember just the name of the beer I had yesterday. So I'm
Yeah,
sure I
sure.
did know
You're
that at some
alcoholic.
point, but I probably forgot about it.
Yeah, J Dubs had their own kombucha. Now that reminds me, and Ryan Parker's brother works there. So
Ryan
Southern
Parker's
and
the
Red
man.
Cypress are connected. Yeah. So to continue on my journey, I went north more to Madeira Beach and Johns Pass. Went to Mad Beach, a brewery that I was like crazy for. I mentioned them a couple times about them being one of my top favorites that everyone needs to go, and it's a must hit for the St. Pete area. Well, I kind of take that back. And
Do you?
Bum, bum.
Womp, womp,
for the dumbest
womp.
reason, but it pissed me off, and I'm still kind of pissed off about it. So Preston went to order 12 wings, and Jeff, your opinion on this, I really want to know, as Chris's
Okay.
as well. But you're
Okay.
GM of a
I'm-
restaurant
Yep, got it.
in your area. So Preston wanted 12 wings, right? And we all know how fucking chicken wings are cooked, but he wanted 6 in sauce A, B. And he knows the head chef there. They've done an episode together. Like, Preston's not a stranger. They said they will not do that. And that drove me up a wall.
I will
So
tell
much.
you that every restaurant that I have ever worked at that does wings will split sauces at least in half. So what I will say is it seems like it's not a big deal for the kitchen, and it has potential to really fuck up the kitchen if it gets out of hand. So it seems simple enough, but like just the fact that each of those modifications when it goes in has to be read, they have to be remembered. Then there's the actual, it's an extra 2 or 3 steps to plating that dish, which when you're in a hurry and you're trying to plate 9, 10, 12, 15 dishes, it is a thing, it has potential to kind of fuck up, but in no way is that acceptable. Like you do that for just the simple fact that you look fucking cheesy for not doing it. The way I look at it and kind of what my rule is anything that's on the menu is fair game for modifications. If somebody comes in and you don't have I don't know, let's call it Swiss cheese, it's not anywhere on your menu. And that person's like, "Hey, can I get a burger with Swiss cheese?" No, we don't have it. You know what I mean? Like even if you do have it, they don't know you have it. It's not on your menu. You can say like, "Sorry, we don't carry Swiss cheese." And I don't think you look bad for doing it.
Right.
But
because the customer doesn't know.
When they have that other sauce and you don't want to put it on 6 of their fucking wings, you look like a cheesy fucking loser. Like as a restaurant, like I would leave and I'd be like, "That restaurant fucking sucks."
Right. And it's not
I'll
like
give you an example of it.
Okay, go for
Buffalo Wild Wings. Buffalo Wild Wings. It is literally named after buffalo wings. They don't let you split sauces.
That's fucking that's such bullshit.
They're named after wings. That's their specialty is wings. And they're the worst place to get wings at because they won't give you a 12-piece with 6 and 6. It's absurd.
So like I got me drunk because I had a bunch of meats on my flight. So
Dude,
I asked
good time.
So I asked the server like towards the end as we were like kind of checking. I'm like, why can't we get like the sauces split? Like it's not like we're asking a lot. The sauce is already made. We just need 6 in egg and 6 in B. Just fucking put them on a plate. Like I don't give a fuck. Like, and she's like, well, just earlier we had some kid wanted 8 modifications to his burger, and it just gets out of hand because.
Then you make a rule. Like, how fucking lazy are you to make a rule?
Also, I'm not that fucking kid.
It backs the kitchen up.
Yeah. Well, okay.
It backs the kitchen up, which I get. It backs the kitchen up. But there was like 7 people in the kitchen, and they had orders, but they weren't busy by any means. So it's like 8 modifications. I get it. Like, that's a fucking pain in the ass. But when someone wants 12 wings, which are like $20 there, like it's absurdly priced, it just wants 2 sauces that are already made, all you gotta do is just fucking dip them in. Like what? They're like, no, we can't do. That's too much.
I see both sides.
They're lazy, but they're just. Yeah. It's to be honest with you, it's laziness. It's the fact that they don't want to take the time to properly train their server to tell you, "I'm sorry, we can only split our wings in half. If you get a 20-piece, you can get 10 and 10. If you get a 12-piece, you can get 6 and 6. We don't do 3 sauces or 4 sauces." But we'll let you mix 2 sauces together. You can mix 10 sauces together. I don't care about mixing sauces because that actually doesn't affect the kitchen at all. It's when you have to. It's when you have to kind of, unless they have like 20. Say they have 20 sauces. Unless they have 20 different bowls that they're going to spin your sauces in, like they have to, rinse them out and clean them out between each, toss. Which most of the time they're going to have 4 or 5 bowls with the 5 most popular sauces, and then they will wash them as they go, and whenever they get that random sauce, they throw another bowl out. But if you're going to mix 10 sauces, fucking mix 10 sauces and then throw the bowl in the wash. But the fact that they don't have a rule and they didn't take the time to say like, "Hey, you bartend here, just so you know, they can get 2 different sauces, split their order in half. They can get 2 different sauces." If you get a 50-piece and you can't at least get 4 sauces, then you shouldn't be serving wings.
Right. And before I want to hand it off to Chris because I want to know what he thinks. Fuck, I just lost my train of thought. They'd even offer an upcharge. Like Preston was like, even if it was like $1 upcharge to add a second sauce, like at least give me that as an option. But they said, nope, 1 sauce, 12 wings. And they're like, dude, the food there is fucking expensive. Like they
didn't even give you a sauce on the side option?
No, nothing. A handful
They
of
weren't even
tots.
like, we just won't sauce them. We'll give you both sauces on the side. That's fucking
Nope.
bullshit.
Nope. So I got a handful of tots with beer cheese, $8. That's how expensive that food at Mad Beach is. But Chris, I want to know what you think.
So I guess I'm just not as passionate about the wing sauce dilemma. I would have just picked one or the other. But outside of that, it's I don't know. It's one of those things, man. Like I see both sides where like if it's Tuesday afternoon at 3:45 and you're the only guy sitting there, then yeah, fucking do both sauces. But if it's a Saturday night and they seem to be busy, I could see why they'd get a little uppity about it. But at the same time, it's not that big of a deal. So if they have the means to do it, they're deciding not to. Ugh. But I don't know. It's wouldn't be that big of a deal breaker to me, to be honest.
So if you went to Fridays, you got a platter of burger sliders, which is like the 4 or 5 individual burgers, and they have a list of sauces you could put on your sliders. And that's like 8 long. Or you could get one sauce, or you get 2 and 2, or you get one sauce, 4 different sauces or 5 different sauces.
I'm apparently a sheep. I'll go one sauce. I'm like, well, good option.
Oh, you're so vanilla.
No, see, I get like every one of them would have a different sauce.
Yeah.
Bring me a thimble of each of your sauces.
No, we don't do that,
Dude.
sir. Just one sauce.
I'm from we're all from World of Beer life, right? Like, how many samples do you give out? And you just put a smile on your face and you keep giving samples, and you fucking know damn well that they're not going to drink any of those damn beers, because you already knew from the second that you talked to them and you asked them what their favorite beers were, you knew which beer they were going to get.
That's when you go
tried 9 different ones.
Yeah, if you feel like they're manipulating the system, that's when you just go, hold on, I got a perfect one for you. You just start picking the worst ones possible they're going to hate. And then they don't like you anymore. They won't trust you to actually do that. So they make their fucking decision. So
I mean, to me, it never bothered me giving them like 20 samples. 20 is a far-fetched number, but it never bothered me because I get to see how they react to it. So I would, ask, well, what's your favorite style? Oh, I like IPA. So, all right, here's 3 IPAs, and I know how different each one is, but seeing them like taste it, like, to me is kind of like rewarding in an odd, creepy bartender way.
No, I still miss that about it, man. That's I was just talking about this the other day to somebody. Like, I still miss being like the beer Sherpa at times, to where like they're looking to try something new. You throw a couple things in front of them, and then they're just like, "Oh, well, shit! I never would have tried that." Like, I'll definitely do that. Like, that was one of those weird, like, rewarding things for sure. So,
this Narragansett tastes just like Bud Light. Can't believe this is craft beer.
I mixed the half with water for you too.
Yeah, I mean, like, I know we commented on it last episode, but that's one of the things that the World of Beer really used to excel at was the approachable craft beer. Let's give you a tour into and teach you and guide you into the right beer. And that's another reason that I think that they're not doing so well anymore, is that I think that has gone out the door almost completely now.
It has.
The people like us that used to teach people about beer, they're just. I mean, I love everybody that works at WA, but it's just they didn't focus on that anymore. The beer is completely out of the picture.
Well, and I think the more you streamline it too, it was one of those things to where, like, the fact that it was expected of you as an employee to do that to people was almost a sifting process in itself. For those who didn't give a shit about the the beer or whatever it was, didn't go apply there. But now that they've streamlined it, it's a little bit more commercialized, and you start seeing them pop up everywhere with a a mandated menu and Bud Light on tap and all this kind of stuff. You're gonna start
did you hear about that?
Oh, I saw it, man. But you're gonna start seeing.
Don't even get me started.
Yeah,
so that's a whole new episode.
Yeah, right. You're gonna start seeing a lot of people who are just coming in because they've served some tables before and they need to pay their bills. They may not care about beer, but they'll go through the test. You know what I mean? And nothing against them. There's no negativity there, but at the same time, it's not the same passion of trying to teach people about things that maybe some of the other people going down in the first place.
The test isn't. The test isn't even about beer anymore. The test is like 90% food service.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised at all. I didn't know that, but I'm also not surprised at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Crazy, man.
Well, 2-bite rule. Make sure you get that question right.
Yep.
slow death. But anyway, so that's pretty much. It was a good day overall, but it was definitely something that I wanted to bring on the show and kind of talk to you guys about. But to go into, we're gonna shift to the news now. In our second ever episode of Just One Topic. And
I was gonna try it, but I couldn't think I could hit the note. So
That's not news. That was like a telephone.
that's my new text message tone right there.
That sounded like a goose.
It's like
Like a drowning turkey.
it's huge. So the first news topic, I think the biggest one in recent times since the last time we recorded the show, is Fat Heads is leaving Florida.
Yeah.
Fat Heads, one of the great breweries that we can get in Florida, said "fuck you" to Florida, and they left.
I don't know if it's okay. Let's preface.
It's not a fuck you. I'm exaggerating.
Okay,
It's all for sure.
let's preface this conversation. Though. How big of a presence did they have in Florida? Were they,
I was just gonna say, I don't know that they were that big.
You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anything bad about them. They're fucking great beer.
No,
they're award winning, and they deserve every success they have.
Good brewery.
But were they really like such a staple in a lot of people's view? I guess, or
Absolutely not.
to where like this is really going to upset a lot of people.
I don't think it's gonna upset too many people. Right.
Yeah.
And like
they're like eighth on my batting order.
It's funny because like they're good. Like their beer is great. But like you were saying before, it's one of those brands that's associated with the North. It's not associated with Florida. Because where are they? They're Pennsylvania. Where are they from?
Ohio.
They're out of
Ohio.
Opened in
Where did Pennsylvania come from?
Yeah,
that's because Pennsylvania's their other market. Yeah. So their other market is Pittsburgh, and then so they have Ohio, Pittsburgh, and Florida. But well, not anymore, not Florida. But no, I mean they're great, but like I don't think the brand was recognizable enough when you have the Florida market, which is very young into craft beer. I think they're looking more along the lines of the big local dogs or the really recognizable mainstream craft guys. And they're the New Belgiums. How many people in Florida do you still hear saying Fat Tire as a brewery? You know what I mean? Like,
Zero.
They don't even know that it's New Belgium. They just think it's called Fat Tire.
Well,
so like I think that's it's not nothing against Florida craft beer. These people really genuinely appreciate a good beer, but they're young into their knowledge into craft beer. And I think Fat Heads is an acquired taste and acquired brand. So I don't think that it was recognizable enough.
Well, it was a very underrated brand. Like it didn't get the attention and the accolades I think it deserved in Florida, at least. Their distributor that they signed up with did really, really well with them. They got them into a lot of places that I don't think they would have been normally. But at the same time, it's one of those like they're in a very fortunate position to where, they're leaving Florida out of necessity. It's not one of those we have the beer to do it, but we just don't feel like being down there business decisions. It's one of those, hey, we're killing it in our home market. So we need to dial back. We need to, start providing in our home area. It doesn't make sense for us to, maybe spend the money in transportation and all this kind of stuff to get beer down to Florida when we got people who are running out of stock in shelves in Ohio or in Indiana and things like that. So, it's a really fortunate position for them to be in for sure. And especially with nowadays with the beer game changing so quickly and so much quicker than it used to, there's really no formula for it now too. So that you'll see a lot of breweries maybe hopefully not doing this kind of same thing, but it'll be unfortunately commonplace, I would say, for a lot of breweries to kind of dial back if they didn't really get their production in line with where they wanted to be. So.
So with me with Fat Heads, I think there's a couple things. I think kind of what everyone said is lack of identity. I don't remember ever seeing a Fat Head event at any bar within 15 miles of where I live.
That's a good point
whatsoever. Like no spotlight, no tap takeover, nothing going on that was like, oh look, Fat Head, at all.
Well, I think honestly too, outside of Headhunter and their blueberry wheat,
oh, that's so good.
Those two, and then maybe a seasonal every now and then. Did you really see anything else from them?
No, honestly not.
You never really saw any draft or anything like that.
What was their double IPA? They had Headhunter, and then they had the Fat Heads. The Spooky Tooth was a great pumpkin beer. One of the best pumpkin beers.
Yep. And that's one of those things. Whenever they did have some down here, it did really well. But I mean, I think maybe whether it was the brewery itself or maybe the distributor, there was kind of a small set of offerings offered from them in Florida anyway. So it's not like we saw a lot of opportunity to see these crazy one-offs and all that kind of stuff to really see what else they did.
Sure, but I mean, at least advertise a brand in terms of, oh, we're having a tap takeover at WCF or whatever with, 4 or 5 fat heads and a raffle. Every fat head you buy, you get a raffle and you fucking win whatever, right? And then the second thing that I've been noticing a lot, especially in the Florida, well, only in the Florida market because we live here, is that Florida generalization. Florida beer drinkers are very on one side or the other, the extreme. Either you're hardcore in a Budweiser and that's all you drink, and you don't care what anyone else says, you like American beer, or you're on the other side to where you're like, I really like Florida craft beer, and all the other craft beer is like not a priority whatsoever on my palate.
I could see that.
And I think
it's definitely harder for a lot of national
accurate.
brands to make a footprint down here now. With the fact that you look at maybe 5 to 10 years ago where beer started becoming a lot more popular in Florida. Again, it's one of those things where a lot of people learned their taste on a lot of national brands. And now that they see a lot of breweries popping up around them, they've started to gravitate towards those and kind of not cast away the national brands, but they've already been there and done that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So why take a chance on that when you can? Yeah.
It's people go to Cigar City all the time, go to Funky Buddha. They travel all over the state getting that Angry Chair bomber, like Spooky Fat Head or Sierra Nevada or all these bigger dog all get overlooked because we're on the left and the right. There's no middle ground in terms of trying other brands.
Yeah, and it's one of those things too, to where like you almost can't blame people for that. Now they're starting to meet the people that are making the beer, and they're starting to have like a really cool experience in the tap room. It's their local watering hole now. As opposed to going to a craft beer bar to try new stuff out, they can actually go to their local brewery and just kind of see what they worked on in the last 2 weeks.
Sure.
So, and it's definitely made it a lot more personal too. It's a lot far from being divorced from where the quality and the product coming from. So it's good, man.
Right.
It sucks for national brands, whether or not their numbers are going down, I don't know. But I'm sure it's a lot harder for them to compete in an area like Florida where things are becoming kind of hyper local. So
it's kind of funny though, and I was thinking this, and I've been vocal against this in the past, but it's almost like it's the perfect opportunity for BrewHub to step in and be like, "No, you guys want to stay in Florida? We got this. Like, give us your recipes, and we'll distribute in Florida for you."
Dude, that's a whole nother episode on its own, right there.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, for I think if I were to open a brewery and BrewHub came to me, I would have to say, well, my beer has to sell in order for me to contract that out. And if Fat Head isn't selling to where they pulled it from the whole state, like,
well, no, the thing is, it doesn't say that Fat Head wasn't selling. It just says that Fat Head had a necessity to pull out to meet the demands in its 2 larger markets. Fat Heads was probably selling very well in Florida, but it doesn't. Nothing in this article makes it seem like they wanted to leave.
No, they're, like I said, they're in a very fortunate position to where they find themselves in the situation that they're selling too much beer.
Right.
Like that's a pretty awesome position to be in if you're a brewery nowadays, especially with the fact that so many are opening up and so many want to be as well received and as well sought out as what they're doing, obviously. To the fact that, they can't even keep their home market saturated. Like you can't be a brewery and keep your backyard waiting for more while you're selling other places, because then your brand, your brand's going to start to suffer, because then a lot of people who might be loyal to you then see, hey, well, they're sending it down to Florida, they can get it down there, but I can't get a headhunter at my bar. Like, this is, why the hell would I go buy that?
Right.
There's plenty of other ones. You know what I mean?
Well, in the quote here from the head of sales marketing, it says, with plans of our expanded production facility well underway, capacity restrictions aren't something we will need to deal with much longer, but they are our reality today and for the near term. Yeah. So it just seems like they just can't meet their demand in their local market, and they needed to pull out of Florida. And it sounds like probably just a year or 2, and they'll probably be back right in Florida again.
Mm-hmm. And even then, now they've already got the distribution channels laid out. They've already
They
got
already
accounts
have
that know
yeah,
them.
they already have Cavalier lined up for them, and they're
Yeah,
ready.
like
You
when
know?
they come back, they're well ahead of the game, more so than any of the other ones trying to get into distribution now.
And they have a footprint.
Yeah, exactly. They've already got accounts that are sad to see them go. They'll be happy to see them come back. So
So I think it's a good time to end it there. It's getting a little late for us old people.
Holla, yeah, it is.
But,
No, man, Cassie went to bed already, so I'm just gonna probably watch TV until I pass out.
Cool. So, Chris, what you got going on lately? You got some cool things going on your side of the boat?
unfortunately, no, man. Just a lot of work and trying to keep the family going, and it's been a very boring couple of months, which is probably good. At least nothing bad's happening. So
Hey, man,
Sometimes
I'll
boring
take
things-
boring any day.
yeah, for sure, man. How about you
Cool.
guys?
Jeff, what you got going on?
Oh, I've just been working on the house, man. I just moved in down here in Jupiter. I got I've owned the house for over 3 weeks now, but it's just been, a full remodel. Pretty much every surface in the house is getting touched in one way or the other. So I've been working hard on that, and then still working at my job. And I would say I'm about 60% done if I had to put a number on it. So I still got a ton of work to do, and it's rewarding, but it's getting to the point where I'm kind of like, fuck this.
I hear you. How's Black Marlin doing, the home of the show?
Man, they're doing good. We're doing real good over there. It's starting to pick up for season. It's positive feedback on everything, all the changes. We have expanded our craft beer selection, so we're doing real good. As we've said, we've got the Black Marlin on tap permanently. One of the only places in the country that carry that beer on tap. We got White Marlin from Sailfish Brewing out of Fort Pierce. High Lie, of course, is another local favorite. We just got in TBC Chancellor cans, which did you guys know is gluten free? I don't know if you guys knew that.
I know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
That's Tequesta for people who don't know.
It's not. That's Tequesta Brewing Company. Sorry, it's not. I guess it's not advertised as gluten free because it was not brewed specifically to be gluten free. But I guess it's like gluten reduced to the point that celiac people are like, nah, it's cool. We can drink this.
Yeah, there's
So-
a few of those probably. Yeah, like FDA regulations say it's low enough or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
is
like,
like
Nah,
a
it's
mission
cool.
where they say it's low enough.
right. Yeah, it's like non-alcoholic beer that still has alcohol in it, but it's like below 1%. So everybody's like, nah, there's nothing in there. Like,
Cool.
but yeah, we kind of expanded our craft selection. We brought a beta in. Nobody knows what the fuck it is. It's kind of funny. But just bringing some cool stuff in and trying to make it all work. But it's going really well.
Cool. So
Life is good down here in Martin County / Palm Beach County.
right, I got nothing really going on too much. Just trying to find a job, work on the show, it's trying to stay afloat, not drive myself crazy, being home all day. But
Get this guy a job, guys. He's fucking awesome.
Shout out, right?
Yeah, Mike's looking for a job. New title of the episode. But no, I actually have an interview tomorrow morning. But nothing's too crazy other than yesterday. My sister's graduating college next week, so there won't be an episode next Sunday. Which by the time this goes out, this might actually take its place. I don't know. I gotta figure that out later. But nothing too crazy. I'm just ready for Christmas and 2017 and to start fresh. And I have two things. I want to start live streaming because I think that'd be funny.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone could watch. I don't know when I'm going to do that, but maybe within the month, maybe like January. That'd be like our January thing. And then 2, there's this game that I want us all to play because it's so fun. It's Quiplash. It's a like Jackbox game, and it's like a Cards Against Humanity, but on the computer. And it's fucking hilarious. Quiplash.
Quiplash.
totally
Shout
down.
out.
Quiplash by Jackbox Games.
We're gonna plug that anywhere.
Dude,
about
hell
to
yeah,
say,
that is gonna be
first plug
fun
is
as
free.
fuck. We all play. That'll be an episode. We just play this for like an hour.
I'm down.
Anyway, but yeah, that's it. But once again, thanks everyone for listening and watching. Until next time, we will all see you at the bar.
At the bar.
At the bar.
Bye.